Welcome to the What's Up Every podcast, where we fashion ourselves cinematic judge and jury. My name is JJ Crowder. I'm here with my co-hosts Mattson and
Better read than dead.
And Alec Burgess.
Let's get it.
We appreciate you tuning in. Go ahead and hit that follow, subscribe, like, bell notification buttons. Hit them all. They help you keep up with all of our episodes as they release weekly, and then any other extra stuff we may or may not do on occasion. But it also helps us grow the podcast. And you know what else helps us grow the podcast? Telling a friend, family member about us. Let them come listen. Tell a bunch of psychotic people that like to run long distances. Mattson would get along with them. He used to do that crazy shit.
Used to.
They are not my people. So
I don't miss the long runs. I do miss the team, but my goodness.
I still during the summer or like the spring and summer months drive around and see them out running, and I'm like, you fuckers are stupid. Enjoy, but you're dumb. So yeah, there it is. But it's week knocking shit over. It's week 5, and we're here talking about the final movie in our Kevin Costner sports film extravaganza month of March. Yeah, there it is. So let's dive into McFarland, USA. It was released February 20th, 2015. It was written by Christopher Cleveland, Bettina Gilloy, and it was directed by Nikki Caro. Stars Kevin Costner, Maria Bello, Ramiro Rodriguez, Carlos Prats, Johnny Ortiz, Rafael Martinez, Hector Duran, Sergio Avalar, Michael Aguero, Diana Maria Riva, and Omar Leyva. It is about Jim White, who moves his family after losing his last job as a football coach, and at his new school, he turns 7 disappointing students into one of the best cross-country teams in the region. Fine. It's an okay synopsis, I suppose, but
it's really terrible, actually.
Makes this movie sound much more boring than it actually is, but that's okay. Yeah, let's dive into it. Was this one of mine? I think it was mine.
It was your pick, which is funny from what you just dissed most of this movie in like 30 seconds ago, but you did pick this movie.
I didn't diss the movie. I dissed the sport that
you dissed the premise of the core part of this movie. So.
I mean, I dissed the sport that it revolves around. Now, with that diss comes a lot of respect because, again, I think they're stupid, but that's only because I couldn't do it. If I could do it and I found any joy in running at all, it's a great sport.
JJ, to live where they live, we've talked about this recently in podcast. You would have just died walking out there.
Oh yeah, I know. Trust me. Look, football practice, and I ran track, like because our football coach made us run track. And by
Did
running
you like
track,
shot put?
Yeah. Well, so when I first got into high school, my freshman sophomore year, and I was playing football, I ran track. I ran the 100 meters, and then they got me to run the 4x1, and which is fine because I'm sprint. Game on.
You ran the 4x1?
Yeah.
That's a terrible race.
Oh, man.
Yes.
You know what was funny? The way you said when you first got into high school, I was like, oh, yeah, you got expelled and sent back to high school. It felt like you're like gone a couple times. I mean, how old Jay is, he's been to high school like 3 times.
Yeah, no shit. I could have been. Yeah, pretty close. Anyway, definitely 2 and some change. But, no, yeah, freshman, sophomore year, I actually ran. And then my junior year, I was like, fuck this shit. I'm not running anymore. And so I didn't. I just went right to shot put, jav, discus. I did all the throwing events. And they forced us to run and warm up, but that was my way out of having to run all the time because I just don't. And I wasn't in Arizona, thank God, or in Southern California, thank God.
This movie is like your form of punishment. If there is a hell and you had to run for a long time in the dead heat, I mean, you need life support. Like we just did that now. Like any of us would be dying, but I seriously think you would melt.
I'd have a heart attack before I melted, but yes, it would not be a pleasant experience. And I'll tell you this whole movie is like a giant torture sequence for me, because not only are they running a lot, but then they're out in that Southern California heat picking. Nope. Because that is some dastardly shit. Watching, like, I helped with that in Yuma, Arizona, and it lasted for all of 20 minutes. And I went, you keep going, boys. I'll be over here. And I carried water to all these fuckers the rest of the time, because I was like, nope, it was 115 degrees outside, and you're bent over, and you're
Dude, when
fully.
he threw his back out,
Dude,
I just threw my back out again recently, doing what God knows what. It took me like a couple weeks to get back. My sciatic nerves bothering me. But man, I was like, bro, I know how that feels. You'd be stiff as a board for days.
mm-hmm.
And then you think about it, you like didn't do that much. You were just bent over working. But they said in the movie, if you're not used to that, kills you. It was
that
just
position. Mm-mm.
oh,
Nope. No, like I said, I picked lettuce for about 20 minutes, and I went, I can't. Now, I'd already had one back surgery by the time I was doing this. So being hunched over like that couldn't help. It was undoable for me. It was misery. And then the heat on top of it, it was terrible. And I'm in a white it was just not good. So I quit and then carried water to everybody else that was
you
there.
didn't change you guys didn't have like service clothes on?
It was a last minute like thing.
Mm.
It wasn't a planned thing. And so, yeah, that white shirt and tie went in the garbage as soon as I got home, because by the time we were done, it was no longer white, nor would it stay white. But yeah, so I have massive respect for people that run and live in these heated, just misery desert climates. And then on top of that kind of hard manual labor, massive respect. My privilege makes it so that I don't have to do that, and I never will. So thank you for my privilege.
Alec, how did you feel watching this movie, knowing you live in heat just like this on the daily?
I mean, just fine. I grew up running cross country and track in
Did you
very
really?
similar climates.
I totally forgot about that.
I could taste the dust while they were racing. It was great. But yeah, so I had a couple beefs with this movie, but it was more from like, why did they choose the people that they chose? Because Tommy, right, the guy that was like the best runner, was terrible at running. he ran like, I was just watching him going, oh dear, because you had the other guys who were like on the team, right, the middle of the road guys who were in the PE class who first get Jim White's mind going. All of them were like runners, right? They look like runners, they run like runners, and they act like runners. And you got Tommy over here, who's just like the fastest one, but dude is running on all muscle.
Yeah, when he did like they showed that
eaten alive by anybody who knows what a stride is.
The race that he lost, when the first one, when they didn't know about the uphill, and he like dead sprinted in the middle. I was like, you're not gonna, you put on that type of gas that early, you're gonna die. Like and he obviously he did. As like what his running form made me think of like Tom Cruise with how he sprints. I'm like, they made him, when they wanted him to go fast, he like sprinted. I was like, that's just not how it like actually would look in like a real distance race. But what can we do?
It's the curse of doing athletic movies with actors. Like, it happens so often.
Cracking up, because I was like, ooh, and then at the end, right where he's running for state, and the dude keeps looking behind him. At the second, I was like, you're an idiot.
Oh yeah, I saw that. I was like, no one ever does that. No one in their right mind would do that.
Right. So when I ran, I wasn't fast, right? Like, I'm not running these times they're putting up. I put up decent times, but my kind of shtick was I was more like Danny Diaz, right? But if I see your ass before the finish line, I'm passing you. And so this guy's turning behind, looking behind, like, dude, I would have passed this guy. Because
So-
as soon as they start looking behind, they slow down. And you're just kicking in stride. And then as you get closer and closer, you kept looking back. And it's that added drama effect, right? But as soon as you look back, you're going to trip, you're slowing, you're done for, especially at state.
Well, I was going to ask, like, why is that a big? Because, like, for me, we sprinted, which means I'm not looking back. Or I was playing a sport like baseball, which the only thing you can do is look at a ball, which I'm not going to do that because then you run crooked. But, like, in football, I always, like, if you break one in football, you're always looking because if they come up behind you, they'll punch the ball out, something like that.
Because you're worried you're going to get hit in cross country. The worst, you get a spike or like an elbow. But if you're in the front, they can't do anything.
Yeah.
So, like, what's the point? You can hear them. Like, I did run from the front, like, so I know what that is. Like, what am I doing looking back? I put on the Jets, dude. Have the confidence.
Yeah, you got somebody, you're going to have someone yelling at you going 20 meters, 15 meters, 10 meters if he's catching you.
Yeah.
The coach is going to be screaming that out. Like, he's not
Gotcha.
just going to be necessarily waiting at the finish line, or there's somebody there who's going to let you know, hey, he's catching you. It's time to go.
And you're also, if you're trying to run that fast, like in football, I know you do like the quick glance, but like with cross country, when it's not a flat footing for one, just asking yourself to fall.
Sure. Yeah, I mean, that's the other part that I always laugh at because we'd go out and do our track stuff, and then the cross countryers would go out and start running all over the campus, and we're like, "What the fuck are you doing?" Like I don't want to run around. Like, give me my nice flat football field or my track, and I'm good. I don't need to worry about tripping and falling on my face.
I did laugh when they didn't have a hill where they lived, which is fine, but like their version of the hill workouts wouldn't wouldn't have
nothing.
done any. Yeah, that would have done absolutely nothing. That workout would have been trash because just would have, like, hill workouts suck and they are very effective. That was not doing anything, but it looked cool. But I should say, was it? I mean, granted, I'd love to actually ask the coach, is that what they did? Because it looked great for the movie. I just highly doubt that's what they actually did for hill training. I'm sure there was something that was hilly enough that they found that worked for their purposes. I just don't think that's what they actually did. It looked cool for for the movie, though. I was like, oh, that's creative.
Yeah, and those hills are bigger. I've seen those. I've been around. I've never ran one because why the fuck would I do that? But those hills are much bigger, those stacks, than they look on the movie. Like,
and I've seen bigger ones. They just didn't. Yeah. That's a fair, but like, sure, like you could kind of get a mini. Like the thing with distance running, though, you need a hill that's like
that's long,
200 to 300 meters, where you're progressively going up that. But I get to your point. I don't know. It looked cool though. But those ones were really small, though, because I have seen much bigger ones.
Yeah, those were. I was like, those were built for the movie. Like, those aren't real.
I did like how they showed how much hill workouts suck. Because where I grew up, we had a terrible spot. It was a 2-minute hill, and it wasn't steep necessarily. It was just long, motherfucker. And so you'd get going, and about halfway through, fuck.
I like
that's where we
workout.
did like hill repeats. And so you're not just running the shit once, you're running it 5.
Yeah, you do it, and you didn't get any break. Your break was running down the hill.
Why?
Because
it's workouts, fun, JJ.
Yeah,
it just gave you a lot of anaerobic strength, and that was something I was good at because my longer legs, like it was easier for me. People that had a little bit of a shorter stride, maybe like an Alec or someone close, like it was hard. But the things I hated, the workout I hated the most was mile repeats. You'd run, we first do like in the off season, we do like a 5:30 pace, 5:20 pace, 5:10 pace, 5-minute pace. And then you do like a 4:50 or 4:45 or something. And you get like 4 minutes rest, 3 minutes rest. And you have to do that successively. Those are the times that I wanted to die and was like, I hate cross country. I should just do track because I'm a middle distance runner. I'd run 800 meters and I'm good at it. Why do I have to die? Those were the days, dude. Like just kill me. I can vividly go back to those. I hate it. And I'm in the Virginia heat. The humidity is just sucking the moisture out of you and then plastering it on your face. Brutal.
You're not convincing JJ that he was anywhere near wrong at the beginning.
Running
Hell
is
no.
every other sport's punishment. The only people that practice
It's
harder
true.
than we did, look, like get football practice can be hard. There's something about running like that and doing that successfully. It's mentally draining. I would have rather done football. The only practice I would not have done, wrestling practice. They did do some running, and then my buddy Martin was like brutal stuff that they would hit him
he's
with.
just physically
Like,
abused in
yeah,
wrestling
that
practice,
type
straight
of
up.
practice, and they did some running. I was like, all right, that's crazy. Like I saw what our football team did. It sucked, but I would have at least didn't have to go for a 14-mile run and have to run like 6-minute pace. Like, no, I don't want to do that. I'd rather hit
6-minute
somebody.
pace. There is nobody on the football team that runs a 6-minute pace for
longer
more than 100
meters.
yards. It's just,
Yeah.
And you're not wrong. Like, it's a good point that you made. Like most other sports, running is a punishment. You fucked up, go run a mile. Fuck. That's
cross countries. You fucked up. Do 10 push-ups.
Yeah. And that was the only difference. Like football, like 2 days were miserable in the summer, but that's because you're wearing so much gear.
Yeah, it's hot.
Like by the time I'm done, like you could fucking fill a swimming pool with the shit dripping off my ass because it's so much. But
I still would have rather done that
couldn't
when
run.
I did.
Well, shit, yeah, I'll do that 100 times than run with the shit you're talking about.
Running every single day.
Hell no.
So
I
the
don't
longest
even
I've
walk that far.
The longest I've ever run is we were supposed to do like a 14-mile run, and we did this in a neighborhood called Balmoral back and like did some trail runs. But we had 2 freshmen. Long story short, they ended up getting lost. So I had to run 4 more miles. And I knew this because we had one of those cool watches, so you knew exactly what you ended up doing.
Sure.
We ran 18 and a half miles that day, 18 and a half because we had to find them, then get back. It was the most mad I've ever been. So I don't have any desire to run a marathon ever. I've run, shoot, dude, I should have just kept running because I would have, like, at that point. We went to Chipotle that had recently opened up, like they'd opened up for the first time ever, like a few months prior to that, so we'd go a lot. I inhaled a burrito. I timed myself 1 minute and 26 seconds, gone. Just boom. And then I ate another one.
Sure. I can't even. The longest I've ever run purposefully it's got to be a mile because they made you do it in high school. Like, no shit. And it was like a 20-minute mile, dude. I'm not talking like I paced myself. So by saying I ran a mile, that's bullshit. I fucking loafed a mile. So it's like and that was miserable, dude. I would 2 laps in. I'm like, this is fucking bullshit. Why do they make us do this? This proves nothing. I can out sprint every fucking person in this classroom by a good round. Why am I doing this?
Do you guys remember the pacer tests in elementary school or middle school? You remember that with like the noise where you'd have to run and it got successively faster and faster and faster? Did you all do that?
They didn't make old people do that.
Oh, you never had to do that? Yeah. Where we grew up in Fairfax County, there'd be a beep and you had to run, get to the other side of the gym, or they had it like a certain distance and it gets faster and faster and faster and faster and faster and faster. I beat that every year. Like it never beat me. But it's funny. I thought every like elementary school did that.
Mm-mm.
Or I've repressed the memory.
Yeah, you would know.
I'd never have done that.
Because I wanted Jay to. Now I wish I could take Jay. He'd be like,
hell no, I'll watch and cheer your ass on. I look, man. The other thing that so I played basketball too in throughout school. I wasn't good at basketball. I was terrible at basketball. But again, I did everything to keep in shape for the sports that I loved. So I played sports and ran track for shit to keep in shape during the off seasons of the sports I wanted to play. Basketball, dude, there was a million times I almost quit basketball because of fucking running ladders or whatever you want to call them. Suicides, all that shit. Them. Like we call them ladders because nobody wanted to call them suicides where I grew up.
So that pacer test, think of it like the suicides you did towards the end, and you had to do, it was like 30 levels of that when you got close to the end. You were just suiciding that.
No way. Like Dude, I'd get through 3 suicides and then I'd beat the shit out of whoever fucked up and made us so we had to do suicide.
Jay's like the dude from the Miracle or
Dude.
Coach Carter or that mess up, and he's like, I swear to God,
I will
I'm gonna
fucking kill you. I am. That was me. Like anyway, running was not me. But anyway, McFarland, look, and this is why it's funny, but this is why I like this movie is because, and it's almost true of most actual sports movies. Like we've done a lot of sports movies in this month, but most of these sports movies don't actually have anything to do with the sport. And so it's like more, there's a story revolving around the sport that's going on. Like draft day, you don't actually watch any football other than them watching highlights at certain moments. And then like, there's no real baseball in either of the baseball movies we watch. Not really. There's like snippets of it. And then what was the other one we fucking did that was like, I feel like I'm missing one.
Maybe we had 2 baseball,
football,
and
oh, dude, you missing Tin Cup?
Oh, golf. That's right.
Yeah,
we did watch a lot of golf.
What's wrong with you, JJ?
And I should be. Yeah, I'm fucking. It's the kind of week I've had. I can't even put the thoughts together. But yeah, like golf. We watched a lot of golf.
But is golf really a sport?
That's the question. We had a long ass. You remember that argument, Mattson, me and Javier going at it for like.
Javier's been saying that since he was 12 years old.
Oh, I know.
Tay went off on me about that the other day. I told her, I was like, we're not going to call Jay today, but we need to call him. We may do that tonight, actually. That'd be funny. Half
a fucking day of work, Javier and I spent hollering at each other between the offices talking about
it escalated. We got everybody involved on that.
Because then it went to like dance and like
did he bring up the defense and physical?
Oh yeah. He had his fucking criteria.
Yeah, it's Javier though. As we now know, it wouldn't matter.
He's held on to that for what is it at this point? 23 years, 22 years. He's been holding on to the same argument.
That was the first time that
I love it.
That group of work people finally got to. It was like I got fired up for a while. Like he had me worked up good.
Speaking of Javier, just ran like a half marathon or something.
Oh, did he?
Or something. He ran part of like a group I saw on Instagram. He just ran. I was like, wow, dude, never thought I'd see you doing that. So Jay, there's hope.
No, there's not. Even when I was in the best shape of my life, which was really good shape when I was a sophomore, junior in high school, running was never my thing. Like
Jay's a 10-yard dash. When they do the 40 for the combine, but the linemen, they do the 10-yard. Jay's right there. That's me.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, no, I was willing to sprint for 100 yards as long as I had a football and I was going to score a touchdown. And then I was willing to jog around the bases if I put it out of or run around the bases real fast. Soccer, I ran a lot more but that was always fun. But again, it goes back to like the sport. I enjoyed the sport. I like this movie because it gets to the heart of sport to me. And you have this group of kids that are in a not great situation, I don't want to say not great because I'm not saying that their lives are bad, but they had hard lives, right? They manual labor. They're having to help their parents just to keep the living. They're not living in a technically safe area in certain pieces of that. And that's true for a lot of people. And then this sport brings them together. Not that they weren't friends and, they obviously ran and knew each other, but like it creates this family environment, if you will, where you're super connected and you're helping each other. And then something becomes a driver outside of like survival, right? Like there's something. And so I just love sport. And then so when you watch this movie and watch them coming together, and then the exciting part, like in the end of this movie is one of my favorite. Like when he's sitting there and everybody's like, oh shit, because the kid burns himself out. And so you're like, uh-oh. And when he's just like, I get off, like I want to jump out of my couch every time I watch this movie. When Kevin Costner's like, that's not Danny Diaz. That's not Danny Diaz. I'm like, because I'm cheering for every bigger guy on the planet. Like, run, Danny, you're the man. So it's like any sports movie where it just gets me amped. And I'm sure it gets a lot of people that are into sports, but for me, it's like, and this movie's that. Like, it's an interesting story about a family of privilege coming somewhere where there's not privilege, right? Like, it is hard and you work for everything and having to make that adjustment and then see them make that choice and then have it be a real life situation. I love that kind of thing, because that's the kind of thing. And I know there's a lot of things that do things like this for people, but I can relate to it being a sport so much, because I've been connected with some of my friends still today that I talk to. We have such separate and differing lives, but we can always connect, and we're best friends and still friends and keep in touch 30 years later because of a sport that we played together. And I love that. This movie makes me feel good, and I like movies that make me feel good.
You know what I liked about this movie? I looked it up after and about how true this movie was, because Remember the Titans. Love that movie. But
yeah,
very not true, like really at all. When they talk about taking professional liberties, it's like based on a true story, 90, like kind 2%. But this movie, the only things that didn't really happen is Jim White was already there. He'd been there for multiple years. And then he just decided to start the team. The Diaz brothers weren't on the team at the same time. And if you look at the end, when they actually won, you're like, wait, there's Diaz people. They're later on. That's why I don't really care that they did all that. The quinceañera thing never happened. But I get why they put it in, because they want to have character progression tied to the community. But really, other than that, it all did happen. And like the community building, the team success and all that. Jim White still, as they say, still lives there. And then they show, I love at the end when movies like that show the real people, and they're clearly still out there. And pretty much everybody came back. Some of them got really great degrees, and came back and like bettered their community. And that's the thing I think I really appreciated about this movie is it's so easy. Just the United States alone, you are in a more poor place. I mean, you even look at like JJ, for instance. Like you didn't live in some of the spots you're in, like Kentucky, for instance, maybe Ohio to a lesser extent. Like you didn't live in some great spots, and like I don't think you'd really want to go back. And where they lived, like they could have never gone back, but they did, and they're bettering their community. And I think that's one of my favorite things to be commended is that they're still serving and giving back. That was really heartwarming to see. And I really like this movie more because it is pretty true to the events that actually happened. And I know that's sometimes hard to make a movie that's entertaining enough without taking liberties. But man, if you can keep it close, like I just think it makes it that much better, because then I can actually feel good about like, this is real. Where like, I still feel betrayed about Remember the Titans. Like I still love the movie, but it does hurt a little bit, because it's not, when you do actually know that, it changed it for me a little bit. I'm like, man, like, I don't have to feel the way about this movie, and I like that.
Yeah. No, I agree. What about you, Alec? What do you like? Besides, we talked a lot about the sport. Like, I want to hear what you liked about the movie, and I know you got some gripes, and I want to hear those.
Yeah,
too.
the gripes were more just because it was like right there in your face.
Sure.
But the stuff that I liked, kind of like what you guys were talking about, is a little bit the community, but also the way that Jim White goes about earning the trust of his team. And so, he starts out just kind of telling them to run. And then it goes into he's running, can't keep up, so he gets a bike. But being out there and being on the course, because that's the same thing, like our coaches ran with us. I had a coach who was like 80 years old. Right? Coach Dockery, loved him to death. But he would be out there. He wouldn't run as fast or as far or anything like that, but he'd still be out there cooking. So having that kind of coach who's like, okay, I need you on my team. We're going to do this together type of a thing. We're going to go figure it out essentially at the same time. That was cool.
Yeah.
Because it kind of showed the way he went out of his way to be like, hey, I need this, but you guys also need this. And so, that's what we're going to go out. That's what we're going to go out and do. So I like that.
Yeah.
My coach, when I first started, was faster than all of us. He ran a 2:18 marathon and was very good. Like that. I don't know if that puts in context for you, Jay. That's extremely fast.
Yeah, it's like 26 miles or some shit in 2 hours and 18. That's. Yeah, I don't even think I could drive that fast.
Coach Post. He didn't make the U.S. team, but man, he was close. We'll put it that way.
It's crazy.
One of the things that we were just talking, the opposite that came true to me. One thing I'd like nitpicky that I just is not true in the running community that they should have just not put in this movie because it didn't really add anything. Is the little bits of like trash talking or like getting at each other from the other school that does not happen in the running community. Like maybe in your running community.
Oh, it fucking does.
No, like it is. I was like, I'm sorry. This is just not what any. And I raced against some good people, and none of us did that. We just was like, I'll just beat you, and there was no like trash talking in track. Sprinters, maybe a little bit. Yeah, sure. When I was on the relays, but cross country, no. So
it's
maybe
just
if
more
I was
subtle.
tell us more, Alec.
I was gonna say, there's a difference between. Did you run in Arizona or California?
California.
There's a difference between California and the great state of Utah.
Well, Virginia.
Oh, Virginia. Even, that's fair. You grew up in Virginia.
There's an even bigger difference between.
Yeah, that's fair.
Yeah, no. I was an asshole. And here's the thing. So I possess a strange talent. I'm sure it's not going to actually come as strange to you guys. Is I run the same pace whether I'm talking or not. And so I didn't shut up for 5 kilometers. I was that asshole.
Oh,
I'd stick behind someone, right? And I just chit-chat their ear off. And it drove them nuts. Because everybody it's a big mental game. Right? So you're looking, you're moving, it's all
How
internal.
fast were you running for like a 5K if you were having conversations with your competitors?
16, 20.
Jeez, dude. It's good.
Yeah, so
I'm
talking
could not do that.
I never shut up. Practices included. 10, 11, 12 fucking miles. And I talked for every single one of them.
I'd have run your ass off the track, dude.
You'd have driven me crazy. I talked during long runs, but the reason
it gets people out of their groove and out of their headspace.
You were that teammate. The reason you guys don't know this about me, but I hate time. I don't wear watches. Like I block it out of my monitor. I have a little sticky over here on my mission. I covered it up with a picture of Jesus in our car and called it Jesus time. It's all because of running. Because some idiot like Alec would be like, how long in are we? And you already know when you do, you're like, I've got to run 12 miles or we're doing 10 or whatever it is, or we're on this particular split. You already know how, like, you're barely in it, but someone's like, oh, we're 10 minutes in. We've got 40 minutes left here. And you're like, dude, just shut up. I don't care. Like I have to run it. Like and you run the same areas. Like you had like 7 different places you normally run. You already knew I'm this far. I have this to go. I don't care what times. I just know I need to get back. And then you got someone like Alec that's just like a big dick about it. Oh my gosh.
Shut up.
Yeah, I'd have shown you my football skills halfway through the run.
Oh my gosh.
Tackle this motherfucker right here.
But it's little snide things, right? So what this movie kind of doesn't necessarily show, and for good reason, is that cross-country races are really exciting for the first 20 seconds and for the last 20 seconds.
Yeah.
And boring as fuck in the middle. And so, you're off on this wild course. You might get an occasion where you're looping around close to where everybody's hanging out, so you get some cheering, but not all the time. And so I'd find someone I'm passing up, they're struggling, they ran too fast again or whatever, and I just pull up and be like, oh man, he's slowing down. Come on, dude, come on.
Oh man.
So it's the snide trash talk of
cold blood.
Like, right, don't quit now. What are you doing? Like, let's go.
I'm just gonna put it out there. Alex, the only, and I ran with a lot of people. I don't know anyone that did that in a race except you. Did you do that on the track?
Not the track, on the course. I didn't do it during track. I wasn't running long enough.
Okay, that's what I'm saying. You did it like.
While we're racing.
Yeah, on a track meet, like on like the mile or like the 800. I don't know if you.
I couldn't do it in the 800 or the mile. Couldn't do that. Not enough time, and I got bored. So I got bored in track because you're running, the 4 laps or the 8 laps or the. So I had to stick with the 800.
2 miles sucked.
Yeah, 2 miles stupid. So I stuck with 800 miles. It's not enough time to, mess with people.
Why
But
run more than a quarter of the track at a time? I don't understand that. Quarter of the track, it was perfect.
But yeah, you hit like mile 1.5, 2 on the cross country course, and that's where you start really kind of like passing people. You see people went out too quick, and or they pulled something or whatever it is. They're still going, and oh yeah, you can be a huge dick out there, and I totally was.
That's funny. I like it.
Because
I was a runner, it's what I'd do.
It's that nice stick, right? Where you're kind of almost like, oh, come on, buddy, you can keep it up.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you don't want to piss them off in a way, because a lot of times people are like, they react. You're like, you run faster, fat fuck, and they will. You know what I mean? Because they get offended and they want to do it. But then, like, if you're like, dude, come on, you got this, Mick. Shut the fuck up, bitch. Like, no, I don't. I hate you. Yeah, that's interesting. I know nothing about cross country that isn't in this movie or watching these guys run when I'm driving by going, oof, why would you do that to yourself?
Hilarious.
Yeah.
But we say all this to say, if you haven't seen this movie, you don't have to like running. Like JJ doesn't really care about it, but the story is compelling enough. The character regression is strong. You're endeared to what's happening on screen. Kevin Costner is great in this movie. I think he plays his role exceptionally, and I think the supporting cast with his family and the runners really makes you feel something. And I think that's what, like I talked about earlier, what I like about this movie the most is, like Jay said, when Danny Diaz does his thing at the end, like you feel it. You're like, he's out there saving the team. Like he did it. He stepped up, and you feel that. And that's what this movie does really well, is it makes you feel something, makes you want to believe in something, makes you feel like you're a part of something. And at the end of the day, I think that's what this movie was shooting for and should be commended for it.
Yeah. It's definitely another case, and I will say Kevin Costner is really good in this one, but it is another case where the people around him are even better. Like, I love the team. I love his family. Like, I love the team's families. Like, when they go into the Diaz mom and, like, she's got all the clothes and shit, and it's misspelled.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I love all that shit. Like, and it's just so heartwarming, and you're just like, you want them to win, to have that success, because they do a great job in the writing and the storytelling of like endearing these characters to you. Like, you want them to be successful and have that. And I think to Matts's point, like, that's why I get so like raw at the end when they're actually talking about the real people and they show them running and talking about what they did in life and the fact that they graduated here and they came back and they're doing this and that. I'm like, because it's weird, because it's not to say that they wouldn't have achieved anything without running cross country, but you have to ask the question, right? Like, would this group of individuals would they have been as successful or make as big an impact as they seem to have had if this situation and they hadn't had Coach White turn up and decide to?
I absolutely
You know what I
believe.
mean?
I mean, we can't say definitively, but they talked about it with the dad with like book. What did they say? It was something like books don't like pick, or I don't remember that phrase, but it was basically something like book, like reading never helped me like pick, like be a picker or something like that. Or like, obviously we could never know, like you're saying, Jay, but I think like anything, when you have hope, it raises the possibilities of what you believe that you can do. And they realized, hey, this is something I never thought, and it raised the hopes of the communities. And all of a sudden, people that thought they were destined to just be pickers, and even their parents thought that, and were breeding them to do breeding, not the right, raising them to be the very same thing. They suddenly realize we're capable of more, and my son can go to school, but also still help the family. Like, yeah, I'd like to think it changed that trajectory. Obviously, we'd never know, but I think it had a massive hand in it.
Yeah. And it doesn't work with everyone. I think there's the one kid that they talk about that ended up in trouble.
Well, yeah, he went to like he didn't get out, but
so it's not always successful, but I really think if you can find, and not just sport, like a group that's going to put you in the right direction and help you feel like you're maximizing your talents and your skills, and you have a passion for it, like it just helps keep you grounded and in the right place. But
Do you think Alec would have been one of those people where they would have flashed like really successful runner got stuck in his room for the next 10 years and talked to 3 human beings?
I think that would be generous.
Now he's in charge of kids' playhouses. Oh God, I love it. Tell me though, Mattson, that you did not just completely understand the dinner scene when she just keeps bringing him food.
Oh, dude, yeah. When you're on
eating it,
you're on the mission. I think did I tell you guys the story when we went
Probably.
tracking? And like literally, we were knocking doors. We didn't do that much in Vegas, but we ended up knocking on a Poly family's door that happened to be a member, but they were in the Polynesian War, and they had a lot of that in Vegas. And it was like 30 minutes before we were supposed to go to our scheduled dinner. And Polynesians, as you know, they'll just call what it is. They love to eat, and they can eat. And we told the mom, hey, we got dinner in a little bit. But you know what people do? You've been on the mission, Jay, you know.
Oh, yeah.
Especially in the Polynesian culture, you want to show hospitality, you feed people.
Yeah.
She started off with the drink. She's like, just elders. Just drink this. All right, fine. It was Kool-Aid. We drank it. And then she got out a cookie, and she was like, just eat this cookie. And then started pulling. After that, I was like, how do I have Kalulu pig, like pork in front of me, rice, and I've got like mac salad coming in. I'm like, what is happening right now? And you have to eat it because she's basically your auntie next door. So by the time we walked out, like I tell you, I was full to the back, like just I was doing the poly shuffle because I was like, well, we have to go to this family. And this family we were eating at wasn't one of the ones that, because you get some cool families that feed you a ton. And you're like, they're your OGs. This is a family that it was like a really special thing because they didn't have you a lot. You knew the mom had already told you. I can't remember what we were eating, but I remember she texted us and like, you're like, all right. So it's my favorite companion at the time. I was like, Lidecker, dude, we better eat the shiz out of whatever she makes us because we know she worked hard. I threw up after that one because I was like, I just didn't have enough room. And so I felt that, that's, I was like,
oh yeah,
dude's just like 3 sheets to the wind. Just like, he's not drunk, but man, he's food comaed out of his mind.
I laugh every time I watch this movie at that scene because in Yuma, which is 75% Hispanic, and I was a zone leader there, so I went out with the Spanish, and I don't speak Spanish. I was not a Spanish guy, but I went out with the Spanish guys.
Spoke rice and beans.
And I didn't speak a lick. And these assholes don't tell you the rules of engagement when you go eat in a Hispanic family's house like that. And they don't speak English. So I'm sitting there just this friggin' white dude chilling. I have no clue what's going on. But it literally played out just like you see in this movie where I would eat. And if you put food in front of me, I'm going to eat it because I'm fat, and 2, I'm not going to be rude. And it was really good food. So I'm stuffing my face, and they just keep going. And finally, friggin' Elder Leotawa looks over at me and he goes, dude, you just have to stop eating. He goes, if every time you clean your plate, they think you want more. And I was like, you could have told me this 6 plates ago, dickhead. Like, I was so hurting. Luckily, they went on doing their thing, and I just sat on the couch and completely zoned out because I was sitting there going, just don't puke in the house. Just don't puke. I was so full. It was hurtful. It was so good, though. It was so good. Yeah, enchiladas and sopapillas. Like, it was just, dude, that was. Yummy. And it was, like, on the border of San Luis, Mexico. So, like, this shit was real. Like, this wasn't.
You were eating some grinds.
Oh, dude, it was so good. Like, yeah, everybody tells you if you go somewhere with Hispanic culture and like they're like, oh, you're gonna end up. Watch out, they're gonna try to feed you chitlins and friggin' chicken feet. I'll fucking eat all that shit because the way they make it, it's delicious. Don't get me wrong.
Lard is your friend,
dude. And don't get me wrong, like things like menudo smelled like asshole, but boy, did it taste good. You get a nice piece of bread and soak that up. Mm-hmm. Yes, please.
The last thing I'll say on this movie that resonated whenever, and Jay knows me well enough, and he's been privy to some conversations with my wife sitting right next to me. Sometimes we call it Latina spice because Taya's like half Hispanic, and when it hits, and those scenes where the mom just like takes over and is like just bullish and making things happen, because that's a real thing in the Hispanic community.
Mm-hmm.
It just makes me giggle because I'm like, she's not to that extent, but it comes out sometimes, and you're just like, "Oh, so okay, yep, I'm just here. What do you need?"
Oh yeah.
Jay's partner's not Hispanic, but she might be.
You know shit. No, but I certainly watched quite a few abuelas when I was in Arizona.
Yeah.
And they don't give a shit if you're a member of the family or not. If you are in the vicinity, you are part of the crew.
You better accept it. You fight it, they will win.
Yeah. And half the time I didn't know what they were saying, but I would just be like, point me in the right direction, because I don't want to be on the wrong end of that flame. Because boy, yeah, I remember. Yeah, I love that. All right, should we rate this movie, even though we've barely talked about the movie at all?
Let's do it.
All right, my movie. I'm gonna give this movie a 4.5. I did really enjoy it. I could watch this movie anytime. Casey loves it. In fact, it's one that like we bought the digital version because we would watch it enough that we'll pick up and watch it just because it's feel good. It's entertaining. It feels good. I like movies like this that have some semblance in reality, and I'm with you, Mattson. I like that this one's more real than not. There's less creative license taken with this movie, at least the overall plot, than a lot of other ones that are based on a true story. And I like that because at the end of it, I like to see people succeed, and I like to see people grow and get better, and I love sports, and whether I want to run or not, I enjoy it. And the acting's really good, the story's great. You really start to feel for these characters, and not just these kids or the coach, but the families around them and the community that they live in. And it's really interesting. Like, I never even heard of McFarland until I watched this movie. And now I'm like, wow, it's an interesting place, I guess. But like, what a cool setting for something like this to happen, right? Like this small town that's in a state that's known for its big cities and, sports teams and everything else. And here you have this small community with this small high school track or long distance running team, and they find success and change their lives. And it's just cool. I like it. Feels good. Very good movie. It's a good way to end the month. 4.5 for me. I'd watch it anytime. Alec, what about you?
I'm also gonna give it a 4.5. It's a really good movie. And I got some gripes with it, but it's mostly the Hollywood gripes of stuff that you put in that just doesn't make sense having grown up and ran. I knew about McFarland, never raced against McFarland because
you were down there
far away. But the only time I would have seen McFarland would be at state, and I never went to state. But everybody who does cross country in Southern California knows the legend of McFarland. And when I went to high school, it was, past their real dominant stretch.
Yeah.
But I knew about them. And so it was kind of cool to see the story that kind of started it all.
Nice.
I'll say. So yeah, 4.5. I will watch it again. I might watch just the last 30 minutes again because that's where stuff happens. But it's a good movie. I liked it.
Had you seen this before?
Nope.
Nice. It's interesting. I had no idea. I didn't even think about the fact that you were down there in Southern California and probably would have heard about it. Nice. All right, Mattson, bring us home.
I'd never seen this movie all the way through. Another one of those that I'd seen a good chunk of it, and it was pretty easy to guess how it ended. But why are you guys giving it a 5? Is my question. What's the 0.5 deduction? Alec, I understand yours, the nitpickiness of the running. But what about you, JJ?
I think for me, they did spend a little too much time, in my opinion, on like the family dynamic of his family, like the coach's family. Like some of that felt forced to me, like with the daughter. And I think part of it is I don't like the actress that plays his daughter. So it's a me thing. Like, I don't like her very much. she's been in a couple of TV shows that I really enjoyed, and nothing that I've seen her that I'm like, yeah, she's great. And so she drives me crazy. And then the fact that like the fights between him and his wife a little bit, and then like that stuff. Whoa, I don't know what the hell happened there, but that was fun.
What did
I
I
like
do?
I don't know, but that was cool, shifting in the middle of it. But yeah, like it's one of those things where that's my gripe. Oh shit. Alec learned a new trick.
Oh, this is gonna be fun.
If you want to see it, go watch the video on YouTube if you're just listening. But yeah, so that's my gripe, I think, is the family dynamic. A little too much of that for me.
Yeah, I'm sitting here trying to figure out why I wouldn't give it a 5. As far as sports movies that make me feel good, I still don't think it hit 5 for me, but I definitely think it's a solid 4.5. And will I watch it again? I really liked the movie, but there's certainly other feel good sports movies that I enjoy even more than this one. It's not that like it's funny that I'm questioning if I'd watch it again because this is the sports movie that was made for me. Like this was my life for a while, but I also don't really care about running anymore. But I do and I don't because I watch it in the Olympics and some other things. So I don't know. Like it's one of those things I'm like, should be the movie I watch all the time. I'm sure I will at some point because man, it made you feel good, but it's not the best sports movie or movie that has sports in it. Like I was far more emotional in like Rudy, but Rudy has its pitfalls. But like, Remember the Titans, like maybe this movie just needed better music and it would have been a 5. Maybe that's what it was.
Could be.
Because Remember the Titans without their soundtrack wouldn't be a 5. They freaking smashed that out of the park because the movie's still good. But I don't know, like a really great movie. If you haven't seen it, go watch it. I really think you'll feel good. And that's what's awesome about this movie. You don't have to care about running. You could care less about all those things. I promise you, you'll be intrigued. And like JJ said, you'll be cheering for Danny Diaz.
That's not Danny Diaz. So good. I love that line. I think you hit it on the head. Like, I think it's just one of those movies that like, I like it. It's really good. And I feel good after it, but I don't go, ooh, fucking McFarland. You know what I mean? Like there's movies. And when I think of 5s, like that's the shit that I'm like, I'll either fight you two over it. Like freaking other movies that I've given it 5 and you're like, what the fuck are you doing? I'm like, back the fuck off, bitch. But this isn't one of them. Like I have, like, I think about it and I go, I don't just get like, amped to watch McFarland.
Yeah, like a movie like that for me that you guys wouldn't care about so much. It's like Friday Night Lights, the movie. Like that movie. And it's funny because I wish I would have played football. Maybe it's because I should have done because I was a good runner. I just lean on that. But that movie makes me like, I really go through the emotion of the feels. And I know it's not everyone's favorite, but I'll fight you on that because that movie, like, it struck a chord. Where this movie, it's funny, it should strike more of a chord, but this movie's more about the community aspects, more so than like the core essence of the sport and the struggle and persevering through the lens of the sport. It's more through the lens of the community, which I think is what makes it a great movie. Sure. But I think that's when I think of this movie in terms of like what it means from a sport and the feels that I get, it's the feels of like what Danny Diaz meant to like the community and not so much like the team and the essence of that cross country team. Whereas like Remember the Titans or the feels I get for Friday Night Lights when they lose, like, man, I just like, I get sick to my stomach a little bit. And I don't know, something like that for me where I just have more of a reaction with that, where this movie, I think it's low expectations of you're like, this movie can't be any good. Like it's about running. Like what? And then it's like really good.
Yeah. No, I agree. There it is. Pretty high scores. I think it's the highest scoring across the board that we did.
Oh yeah. 100%.
Maybe, I think the only one that came close was Field of Dreams, but
yeah,
even that one I don't think was straight 4.5. So I think some of us shit on that one because it's got issues. But yeah, so good way to finish. I like it. Alec, tell everybody where they can find it. Oh God, here we go.
Great there, perfect. Love it. So thank you for tuning into week 5 of Kevin Costner's sports movies, where we talked about the three of us reliving our high school glory days. If you made this point of the video, drop us a comment, leave us a like. Let us know what you guys think of McFarland. Best place to find us is on YouTube, where you can see our smiling faces, or Mattson when he's eating. Outside of that, Patreon's a place to get involved with our content. Special thanks to our patrons, Rich and CB, for their selections this month. Nice, strong month for March. I don't know how we're going to top it, knowing what's on the docket for April. My treat. You're all welcome.
Thanks for that.
Yes. With that, I will kick it back to our legendary leader, the King of Crash, the Titan of Terror, JJ.
Ease his pain.
You have to ease his pain. He keeps doing that shit in the microphone. All right. Well, there it is. I got blurry. That's how fucking pissed he got me. My fucking shit went blurry. So with that, as always, we appreciate you tuning in. We'll catch you on the next one.
Bye.
Hasta la vista, baby.
Cinemagic out.